What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another video. A little bit of unfortunate news on the S2000. So I know in the last video I changed out all the coil pack connectors and wiring and stuff, and it drove great for a few days and it was fine, and then it started doing the same thing again, sputtering and didn't like high RPMs, and I don't know what else we did, because like I said, I swapped the coil pack wires, I swapped the spark plugs, I did a tune-up basically. But so now next step is I'm going to be pulling all the injectors out and getting them clean, and we're going to test them and hopefully that's the issue, because if not, we're leaning towards it potentially being a wiring harness issue, and we don't want to have to buy a new wiring harness and reinstall it. But worst case scenario, yeah, we're gonna have to buy one and get it fixed, because we need this car running, because I don't know, it's like the daily driver around here. So yeah, I'm gonna get this taken apart, get the injectors on the cleaner, and go from there. One more thing I forgot to mention. Sorry guys, I'm sweating like crazy. These Arizona summers are no joke. But one thing I forgot to mention is that the check engine light that I showed in last video was actually not, it was not the misfire. It was actually throwing for a secondary O2 sensor, because this one has been deleted for the wideband gauge, the air to fuel gauge. So we swapped the O2 sensor, and like I said, it fixed it for a few more miles, drove fine for a little bit, as you guys saw in that video, and then like I said, it's just back to doing what it's doing. So yeah, swapped O2 sensor, swapped coil pack wires, spark plugs, all the typical stuff you do when you buy a new car, but still not acting right. So yeah, I've got a little bit of it taken apart. I got this off. I gotta take this off, and then all these little brackets and stuff, and then it either is gonna pull off where I take the fuel off and then the injectors will stay inside the fuel rail, or they'll most likely what will happen is they'll stay in the actual intake manifold, and then I'll have to pull them out individually. Obviously, after I do that, I'm gonna replace all the O-rings, because it's probably gonna tear some, and just when they're out, you might as well replace the O-rings with new ones, just because you want a proper seal with anything to do with fueling. So yeah, and then we're gonna throw them in the tester and cleaner that we have, and throw them back in, and hopefully tonight before the sun goes down, it's still pretty early, go take it on a drive and see if it fixes it again. I don't know. Yeah, we're gonna get back to it. All right guys, so it's been about 10 minutes. I have now got the fuel off, and every single injector stayed in the fuel. I don't know if that's a bad sign, but honestly, I think that's the first time I've had that happen, where every single one has stayed in the fuel rail. I don't know if that means, I don't know what that means. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if it's a good thing. I don't know if it's a bad thing, but nonetheless, I do have it out. Now I'm gonna take them out of the fuel rail and get them on the cleaner. All right guys, so it's now the next day. Went ahead, or it got a little stormy last night and the sun was going down, so I kind of just closed the SI, capped off all the injector holes with some paper towels, just so that, because it looked like it was gonna rain, so I just took some precaution. But I went ahead and cleaned the fuel a little bit, just scrubbed it, put the injectors back in, and we're gonna put them back in the car. So you can't really tell in the videos without some explaining. The reason I didn't talk while they were getting cleaned is because that machine's loud, and I just didn't think you guys would hear me. But basically, one of the injectors is not performing as well as all the other three, so probably gonna look for new injectors, just some stock ones the same, just get new ones, try to find a set. Thought we had a set here, but we couldn't end up finding it, so in the meantime I'm put them back in, and maybe it could fix the issue. It could have been like a loose connection on the injector plugs, I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna throw the fuel rail back in, and you can go drive the car and see what happens. So basically what I was saying is, one of these 4 plugs could have been loose on the actual injectors, because again, we don't know how long this car sat, and I mean, it's from California, so I mean, the history of California cars. So Hopefully, maybe one of them was just a little loose and not getting a good connection. So hopefully when I plug them back in, it could fix the issue. Like again, we're just, you know, having high hopes here because I don't want to have to buy new injectors and wait on them to get here. But if I have to, I will. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get the fuel rail and injectors back on, bolt everything back up, and then take it on a drive. I also want to look at the AC today because we did have AC in it. It was working for, you know, a good week or so, and then all of a sudden it just went out. So I don't know if we have a small leak, a small freon leak. I'm gonna go ahead and hook up the AC charge system and see if we can find a leak, so that way we can fix the leak and get AC back in the car. All right, guys, so we got everything bolted back up, fuel rail's back in, everything's back on the fuel rail. This is honestly probably one of the hardest fuel rails I've ever done. I mean, I've only ever done K-series fuel rails and fuel rails on my car, and they're a few simple bolts and then the fuel lines, and then they come off. This, yeah, it was not fun. And dropping a few pieces and, you know, struggling to get them with a magnet. Anyways, so now next step is to go take it on a test drive yet again and see if A, the issue's fixed, or B, if it's worse. Yeah, I'm gonna pull this out of the driveway and go take it on a drive for you guys. Alright guys, so I've been driving for about 15 minutes now. Everything seems to be good, better than last time. It's getting rainy again, as you guys can tell. But like I said, yeah, I've done a few laps around my neighborhood. Everything seems fine. It's not doing the sputtering, or, you know, it's not driving nearly as bad as it was previously. So I'm gonna go ahead and say it's fixed. Yeah, I'm gonna keep driving a little bit, and if anything happens, I'll let you guys know. I'm gonna try to take it to work tomorrow and see how a longer drive does, and after it sits overnight. So yeah, I'll get back to you guys, but as of now, it's seeming like everything's fixed. I still have to clear the check engine light, as you guys can see. And that's not a big deal. I'm not really worried about that. Like I said, it was throwing it because of the secondary O2 sensor, so nothing to do with the injectors or anything. So it's not like it's new, but yeah, we're gonna have to clear that. Yeah, it's driving good. Done a few pulls, you know, got on it quite a bit, and nothing concerning besides the shaking that I did want to fix. But I want to make sure everything, you know, motor and mechanic wise is fixed before I start doing, you know, the suspension and alignment and whatever else it needs. So it's a good sign as long as the issue is fixed, or, you know, is at least figured out what it is. If we need new injectors, if it does it again, then at least we can, you know, dial it down to just being hopefully injectors, just because they're old and haven't had fuel ran through them in quite a while. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and get this thing home, and that'll be it for today's video, guys. All right guys, we got the S back in the driveway, safe and sound, made it home. No issues as of yet. I wanted to check out the AC like I told you guys, but unfortunately the weather does have other plans. It is getting yet again stormy. So that's gonna do it for today's video. Hopefully the next video we'll be able to check out the suspension in the rear and get the AC figured out, because we need AC in the summer. Even though the summer's coming in, I still want AC in this car because it's still hot in Arizona even in the winter. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. But anyways, yeah, enough rambling. That's gonna do it for the video. I appreciate the support on all the last videos. It seems like you guys like the s2000, so I'll make sure to keep the content coming with this car. Make sure to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next video, and peace.